Welcome to OptinexTech. Ever wondered how to make your React applications feel more interactive and responsive? Let's explore a key UI element today, the spinner component. A spinner is more than just a loading icon. It enhances the user experience by providing visual feedback during data fetching or processing. In this video, we'll build a dynamic spinner component from scratch. Let's get started. We have already created React project. Inside Components folder, create new folder named Spinner which contains two files, index.jsx for component logic and spinner.css for custom styles. Moving to index.jsx, first, we need to import our CSS file for styling. Now, let's create the spinner component. We'll make it a functional component that accepts size and color as props to customize its appearance. Then, we return a div element with class name spinner. We're dynamically setting the size and color of the spinner using inline styles. The width and height are set to the value of the size prop, making the spinner scalable. We also define a light border color using the color prop with 40% opacity, while the top border has a solid color. This contrast creates the spinning effect, enhancing the visual feedback. Finally, we export the spinner component so we can use it in other parts of our application. Now that we have our spinner component set up, let's style it using CSS. We'll start by adding some basic styles to our spinner class. The first style we'll apply is border radius to make our spinner circular. Next, we'll set the display property to inline block. We also add an animation for spinning. Now, let's create the spin animation. We'll define a keyframes animation called spin that rotates our spinner from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. Here, we'll demonstrate how to implement a spinner while fetching data and using a button with a spinner during submission. First, we need to import useState and useEffect hooks from React and our spinner component. Next, we set up our state variables using the useState hook. We have data for holding our fetch data, loading to track loading status, and btn loading to manage button loading state. Then, we use the useEffect hook to simulate data fetching. Here, we set a timeout to mimic a network request that takes 2 seconds. Once the data is ready, we update our state and set our loading state to false. Next, we define the handle click function that is called when the button is clicked. This function sets the button loading state and simulates a submission delay. Inside app class, we use a conditional statement to check the loading state. If it's true, we display the spinner component with a size of 40 and the primary color bluish. If loading is false, it means the data has been successfully fetched. We then render a div containing the loaded data which has title and body within paragraphs with a strong tag for emphasis. Below the data, we have a submit button with a class of loading button. When clicked, it triggers the handle click function. If the btn loading state is true, we display a small spinner inside the button with a size of 16 and white color. Otherwise, we show the submit label. Finally, we style the loading button class in app.css to create a visually appealing and interactive button. The button has a fixed width of 120 pixels, padding for a comfortable size, and a margin top to provide space above it. The font size is set to 16 pixels for readability, and the text color is white against a blue background. We've also added a border radius of 4 pixels for rounded corners and removed the border for a cleaner look. When the button is disabled, we change the cursor to not allowed, indicating to users that the button is inactive. Now our development is complete. Let's test demo. Let's start the application. Upon loading, you'll see a spinner in the center of the screen. This indicates that we are fetching data. Once the data is loaded, the spinner disappears and we display the fetched data. Here, you can see the title and body of the sample data rendered on the screen. Now, let's interact with the submit button. When I click on submit, the button will display a spinner, indicating that the form submission is in progress. After the delay, you'll receive an alert confirming that the button has clicked. And that's a wrap. Now, we've created an interactive loading spinner component which can be used while fetching data and during button submissions. This enhances user experience by providing clear visual feedback. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe for more tutorials on building interactive components in React. See you in the next video.